Since arriving at Ferrari at the start of the season, Lewis Hamilton has had a bumpy ride, and I'm not talking about the plankwear problems that Ferrari have. The 7-time world champion has struggled to get to grips with his new car. So badly has he been performing that after the Hungarian Grand Prix, he boldly declared that Ferrari should replace him with a different driver. That 12th place finish at the Hungaroring was the low point of the season so far for Hamilton. After being knocked out in Q2 on Saturday, he failed to make any forward progress in the race, despite battling against a rookie in a racing bull. While many predicted Hamilton might struggle to adapt to his new car this season, the extent of those struggles has been far worse than many expected. Now though, Ferrari have admitted that it is their mistakes which have made it so difficult for Hamilton to adapt. Today, I'll tell you how Fred Vasseur has admitted that Lewis's struggles are the fault of the team, and talk about what is stopping Ferrari from winning a world championship at the moment, so don't go anywhere. Hamilton's bombshell move to Ferrari was highly anticipated after the announcement was made ahead of the 2024 season. This was not only for sporting reasons, but also given the iconic nature of the partnership in the premier class of racing. However, apart from the Britain's sprint race victory in China, he has been struggling to extract the maximum performance from Ferrari's SF25 F1 car. The most recent race at the Hungaroring saw him finish in P12, his worst in the 2025 season thus far. Despite the ongoing challenges on the racetrack, Ferrari have been making major gains financially through its partnership with Hamilton, as reported by Italian publication La Gazzetta dello Sport. The report stated, Hamilton's presence has increased sponsorship revenues by around €50 million annually. In April 2024, following the announcement of the driver's signing, an agreement was signed with HP for €80 to €90 million. The Reds returned to having a title sponsor after 3 years. The publication went on to say that Hamilton has also had a huge impact on the team's revenue from merchandising, with a 7-time world champion increasing sales of Ferrari-branded gear by a much bigger margin than any other driver. While Hamilton may have said after the Hungarian Grand Prix that the team should replace him, that definitely isn't going to happen. Despite telling the team that he's useless after being eliminated in Q2, as teammate Charles Leclerc went on to take pole position, Hamilton's financial impact on the Scuderia is enough of a reason for them to keep him around a bit longer. However, you don't sign a 7-time F1 champion for the financial impact it's going to have on your team. You sign him so you can win some championships. Considering how close Ferrari were to the McLarens at the end of the last season, many thought that Hamilton might be able to compete for the Drivers' Championship this season, but that hasn't happened. He is 175 points behind current leader Oscar Piastri, which is more a Ferrari problem than a Hamilton problem. Even if he was closer to the top of the championship table, he is still being soundly beaten by his teammate Charles Leclerc, who leads the two Ferrari drivers by 151 points to 109. Leclerc outscoring his teammate by 45% has surprised a lot of people, but Ferrari have now admitted that Lewis's struggles are their fault as much as his. Ferrari boss Fred Vasseur said this week, "Lewis and we collectively, probably underestimated the change of environment and the fact that he spent, for me, 20 years in the same team," explained Vasseur. McLaren was Mercedes, and then he moved to Mercedes, an English team, same engine, guys, that same culture, and so on. So he spent 2006 to 2024, 18 years in this environment, and then he arrived at Ferrari. And we were stupidly expecting that he'll have everything under control. Vasseur said that what had also been overlooked was that Hamilton had not repeatedly had the same experience of changing teams, like his predecessor Carlos Sainz had, for example, so it would take longer for him to adapt. He's not the guy who changed teams every 2 years, added Vasseur. You have guys on the grid that, if you have a look at Carlos for example, he did Toro Rosso, Renault, McLaren, us and Williams in 8 years. He changed 4 times. He's used to dealing with this. Lewis was not the case. Vasseur believes that while Hamilton's adaptation phase took some time to get through, things had appeared to be getting better prior to challenging weekends in Belgium and Hungary. Culturally speaking, there is a bigger difference between Ferrari and Mercedes than between Mercedes and McLaren, and this we underestimated, said Vasseur. It took Lewis 4 or 5 races to be a bit more in control. I would say that from Canada, Spain, UK, Austria he was there. He was. In Spa he had a tough weekend, but for different reasons with a difficult qualifying. But then in the race he was very good. And Hungary, I think it was more details. If you have a look at the classification, you see one is P1, the other is P12, but we were not far away from having Charles P11 and Lewis P12. With Hamilton now settling into the team better, Vasseur is hopeful that he can start to perform better on track. The difficulties for Hamilton aren't as simple as a few big things that Ferrari can fix easily. Everything is different from his time at Mercedes, and finding and fixing or smoothing out all these little details is taking time. But Vasseur is confident that they are now starting to get there. Obviously, this season is now written off. There's no way for Ferrari to compete for a championship, even if Hamilton is getting more comfortable at the team. So the attention now turns to next year. But can Ferrari really overturn almost 2 decades of not quite being good enough? Or will 2026 be the same old story all over again? Well, before I talk about what Fred Vasseur sees as the thing that's holding Ferrari back, if you're enjoying the video and want to catch more news and analysis from the current F1 season, then make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. Last season, Ferrari managed to improve their car to the point where they could compete with Max Verstappen and the McLarens of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. It was an impressive performance by the team, whose mid-season development had a serious impact on their car's performance. Sadly, the impressive performance of the factory team was not replicated over the winter. Not only did they fall back from the McLarens and Verstappen, but George Russell in his Mercedes has also leapfrogged the Ferrari drivers. This kind of inconsistency has been a huge problem for Ferrari since they last won a championship almost 20 years ago. Whether it is inconsistency on the track or off the track, their inability to maintain a high level of performance for an extended period of time has seriously held them back. Lando Norris led home a McLaren 1-2 at the Hungarian Grand Prix before the start of the summer break, but Charles Leclerc had secured Ferrari's first pole position of the season and led the opening 2 stints of the race. A loss of performance in the final stint spoiled Leclerc's hopes, and he ended up finishing 4th. But after a podium in Belgium, where the Ferrari also qualified in the top 3, Vasseur sees the outright performance of the SF25 as being close to McLaren. It's mega difficult to predict, also because I think the picture of one day is not necessarily true the next weekend, Vasseur said. But at least I would say that the last 2 races that we are back on the pace. That lack of consistency is what is holding Ferrari back, according to the team boss. When he looks at what is happening at McLaren compared to his own team, it becomes clear to Fred what has been stopping Ferrari from winning for so many years. I think that the advantage that they have today is that they are always there. It doesn't matter the conditions. Okay, in qualifying we were a bit faster, but it was marginal, and they are performing in every single condition when we're a bit more inconsistent during the weekend. We need to be very consistent in every single condition. In the free practice to have a good preparation for the race, in Q1, in Q2, Q3, with all the sets in the race, with the different compounds and so on. So I think it's where today they are a bit more performant than us. This is what Ferrari are going to have to fix if they want to get themselves into competition with the likes of McLaren next season. No amount of getting Lewis Hamilton comfortable is going to compensate for the team having off sessions or races where they waste time and lose points due to poor performances. Do you think Ferrari should have been more prepared for Hamilton joining the team? And what do you think of Vasseur's admission that it is partly their fault that he's struggled so much to adapt? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.